here, most importantly, we know a lot of people out there really want to hear about the power of networking, especially in this day and time.
Right.
And I know you're going to deliver a powerful message. So let me do a few things here. Let me give you the spotlight video number one. There we go. And let me shut off my video and mute my mic, and the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Yes, so I want to talk about networking and networking like you really mean it. So when we're now under quarantine, people are networking and they're networking virtually. And the purpose of networking is the same. We're networking to make connections, build relationships. So anytime that you're in a networking situation, whether you're virtual or in person, that is the only purpose of networking, is to build and nurture relationships. What I find a lot of times is that people network in order to sell. And we all know we don't like to be sold, right? But building relationships is something that we enjoy doing. And so what I advise my clients is that networking is not a business card collection contest. So walking home with a whole lot of business cards after an event is not the purpose of networking. One of the things that I do with my clients is that we go to networking events together, and I tell them to put three of their business cards in one jacket pocket and leave the other jacket pocket empty. And their goal is to give away only 3 business cards at an event. Why is that? Because we want to build relationship, and we don't build relationship with 50 people at once, right? So one of the things that I invite people to do is to think about building a small list. And we're all hearing on social media now, build your list to 10,000 people. And it's tempting, right, to have a big list, but how are you going to nurture those people? How are you going to build relationship with 10,000 people? So when I ask my clients, how is that going to serve you? How is that going to build your business? Having 10,000 people may give you some bragging rights, but how is it going to build your business? How is it going to really contribute? And how can you contribute to them, right? Because relationship is reciprocal. We help each other in relationship and when we have good connections. So it makes sense if you have an online business that you want to expand and so on, but you have to really think about how you're going to treat those relationships and build those connections. So I prefer not to give into the hype and really have connections with people that I can enjoy and give to them. So in my book, Business Building Referrals, I talk about developing a list of 10. So in the program that goes along with the book, we take a list of 10 and how are you going to nurture those people? How are you going to build relationship with those people? And building relationships takes time, right? So we don't just meet people once and think, oh, that's a good connection. That's a great relationship. No, we have to nurture those relationships and build them. So when you identify your critical few of 10, then think about what you contribute to those people. How do you build that connection so that you know that if you need something or they need something, you've got the kind of relationship that's reciprocal and you can call on each other. So once you have your core people that you are connected with, then you can build another tier of people and then go out to having maybe 500 people on your list where you publish a newsletter or something like that. So let's talk about that core group of people. So one of the things that I talk about with my clients is, so pick one person. How are you going to build that relationship? What's the value that you bring to that person? And are you going to have lunch once a month? So with my list of 10, some of the people we have a weekly phone call. Other people we meet once a month for lunch. With other people, it's a longer time, but we keep in mind, sometimes I send a book, sometimes I send an article, or they can call me if they need a testimonial or a reference. So the relationships are different and they're nurtured in different ways, but you know what you bring to that relationship and what each of you is kind of depending on the other for, right? So networking like you mean it is something that I espouse heartily, because just going to a networking event to see if there's a possible customer for your product is not true networking. So seeking the business from people, people can sense that and know that your conversation with them is such that you are looking for them to buy from you. And that is not the purpose of networking. People need to get to know you first. They need to appreciate who you are. Then they'll want to know about your product or service. So the careful kind of networking that I promote with my clients is such that you don't talk about your product or your service in a networking situation. I know there are formal situations where you give your 30-second introduction and you ask for referrals and all of that. I'm not talking about that kind of networking. I'm talking about a higher level of networking where people connect on a deep level about the kind of relationship that's a business kind of relationship where people can contribute to each other's business, ask questions, how do you do that? And it's a free flow of business information where no one feels threatened, but we know that small businesses and entrepreneurs, we need each other. We're very isolated when we're working. I used to work in a corporation, and I remember when I first started my business, I sat at my desk and I would have given anything for a staff meeting. So it can be very isolating. The kind of relationships I'm talking about are the kind of relationships where business discussions can happen. Those discussions don't happen in a 30-second introduction, right? So there's a time for the kind of structured lunch where people give their 30-second introduction. I'm talking about a more relationship-based kind of networking where people are looking to contribute to each other's businesses, because a healthy business environment is good for everybody. And my mission, my passion is to help small business owners stay in business and contribute to each other in a way that is freely given, and there's no expectation of reciprocity, right? So I have coaches all over calling and asking for, how do I do this? And I feel okay calling them and asking them too. So we're building each other's businesses. It's not threatening, and it's a contribution to community, to business community. So building that community takes attention and it takes awareness. So as you network, keep those things in mind, that we're not trying to build lists of people who like us on a social media. It's a more intimate kind of relationship. It's a more concentrated kind of relationship. So, you know, social media is okay. It's okay to have a lot of followers, but think about how you're nurturing a community that participates with each other, that has the kind of conversations with each other that are building business, not buying business. So I think that for myself, when I first started networking, this was a new thing to me. And so I, I say I did it wrong for a lot of years. And it was a very frustrating kind of activity. And so I stepped back from the structured kind of networking and studied this for several years, tried some things that worked, things that didn't. And that's why I wrote my book, to help entrepreneurs and business owners network in a different and thoughtful way. I'm not suggesting that you stop the formal weekly kind of getting together with a group of people, but also suggesting that uplifting your networking with this kind of connection and relationship building in mind will help your business in a lot of ways. And when I started that for my business took off in a way that I was happy with. I was interacting with people in a different way. I wasn't trying to promote my coaching. I wasn't trying to promote myself in any way. My only goal in interacting with people was to build relationship. And I've had relationships now for over 20 years, nurturing each other, building each other's businesses. And so that's much more rewarding. It's much more satisfying. And building that kind of business community is what it's about, I think. Being in business takes a lot of courage, I think. So I admire entrepreneurs and small business owners for what they give to this country, their community, their city, wherever you are. So keep this in mind as you network. And if your networking isn't working in the way and isn't building your business in the way that you want, sit back for a minute and think about what you can do to build more relationships and contribute to other people. The value that you bring is unique. The value that you bring to other people. Sometimes it's amazing what you can bring to another business, thinking about ways of doing some things differently. I facilitate a mastermind group of about 10 business owners. And let me tell you, I look forward to that so much, because what each person contributes to the other businesses is amazing. We had one business owner who was trying to expand her business, and the conversation around things that she could do was simply amazing. And she at first kind of resisted the group, but then implemented some of the things, and her business has expanded in so many ways. So what I'm emphasizing here is how we can help each other. That's the purpose of networking. That's the gift of networking, in a way that lets you share your wisdom, your experience. And I will tell you, I'll share, my book is Business Building Referrals, Play Your A Game and Become a Networking Superstar. And you can find it on Amazon. It was written over a span of 10 years of experimenting with different things and looking at how people could expand their networking in a way that made sense. So I tried so many things, and I kept notebooks of things that worked, things that didn't work, things I noticed about how other people were networking. For instance, I talk in my book about a printer who was at a networking event, and someone asked him a question about, could he do something for them? I don't remember the exact wording, but he kind of said, yeah, I can do that, and went off and talked to somebody else. And another printer at that networking event stopped and had the conversation with this person, and I know got the business. So besides talking, I realized deep listening is really important at networking events. And that's part of a relationship, isn't it? Where we communicate, we talk, we interact, but do a lot of listening. People will share with you challenges they're having. They will share with you what's important to them. So I'm big on listening. For instance, this morning I just had a meeting with someone and she shared that her anniversary is November 9th. Guess what? I am going to send her an anniversary card, right? So that builds the relationship. We acknowledge people. We care for people. We show them they're important to us. So whatever things that you do that tell people I care about you, you're important to me, those are the things that are part of networking, not just showing up for a lunch and not just getting the sale, right? So keep those things in mind as you're networking. People will share with you, my birthday is next week, or my kid is going off to camp, or my kid just won an award for something. Acknowledge those things, listen for them. People will share those things with you. So learning how to be an absolutely wonderful listener and take note. I will tell you that there's one of my clients, and he's on my list of people. I acknowledge his birthday, and I have for 25 years. And so if I missed his birthday, he would be very disappointed because he looks forward to my letter and my acknowledgement of his birthday. So whatever it is that you do, some people will say to me, oh, I don't send cards. Well, okay, what do you do? What are you willing to do? How do you build relationship? What are you willing to do to build a relationship? Okay, do you take someone out for coffee? Do you invite them to a sports game? Do you invite them to a concert? For instance, I had tickets to a concert that I couldn't use, and I gave them to someone that I knew needed to have some joy in their life. So you pay attention. We all love to be acknowledged, to have somebody pay attention to us. And so that's what networking is about. You don't have to go into a group of 100 people to network. You can network with the person who's ringing up your groceries at the grocery store. You never know. You just never know what you gift to someone. And so if you'd like to have a further conversation with me, my email address is Lorraine, LORRAINE @lanebc.com. And my website is lanebc.com. So I would love to have interaction. I love to network. So I hope this has been helpful and contributes to your own networking. Make your networking count. Network like you mean it. Thank you so much. I love talking about this topic. I'm sure that's evident. Thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak about networking. Networking is highly important, especially as we're going more and more virtual, right? Thank you.
Wow, when you said you can tell that I really, am passionate about networking. I mean, everything is evident there. And
Thank you.
you bet. And the thing that really resonated to me was your masterminds, because I tell people, the masterminds are wonderful. If you have a need in your life, find a mastermind that can fill your needs, because
Yes.
number one, it's a safe environment, isn't it?
Yes,
It
yes.
really
And
is.
amazing things happen in,
Oh.
I call it a sacred space
Mhm.
because it is amazing what has happened in the mastermind. I've been facilitating masterminds for many years, and
Mm.
it's pretty amazing, pretty
It
amazing.
it really impresses me, because we put on webinars and stuff with a 6-minute webinar, and whenever people start sharing information, The other folks who are attending, they have great ideas.
Mhm.
They are eager to share because they love helping each other. And the energy and the electricity, you can just feel it in the room. And
Exactly.
it's just, because sometimes, especially me, I know I can't see the forest for the trees. You can get bogged down in something and you feel like, you just can't see.
Mhm.
You feel like you're pushing a chain uphill, And you go
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
go to a mastermind, or if you share it with someone that you know, and all of a sudden, ding, the light bulb goes off, and oh, okay,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
And
And
sometimes it's the simplest thing. Like, why
mhm,
didn't I think of that?
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah, we're getting ready to go on a streaming TV show, and I tell people yesterday morning, actually it was, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just bing, oh my goodness gracious, I didn't even think of that. And
Mm.
it's as simple as when you get out of bed, you put your feet on the floor first before you get up, before you stand,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you get so caught up in the process, you
Hmm.
lose focus of the content of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that was what happened to me.
Hmm.
And it's just amazing, but how we can get so caught up in our personal agenda. And I love what you said about networking. Networking is not, it's not a poker game. You're not going there to shuffle cards.
No, no, absolutely. And I think it evolves into that after a while,
Mhm,
where you meet the same 12, 15 people week after
mhm.
week, that it becomes old and everybody can tell everybody else's 30-second introduction, and who pays
Mhm.
attention to it anyway.
Yeah.
And so it I just felt after years of doing this that there has to be a better way. There
Mhm.
has to be a better way. And so that's what I write about in my book. And I have a program where I lead people through networking in a different way.
Mhm.
So, and it's not to say that having those lunches is not okay. That's not what I'm not disparaging that. But
Mhm.
I think there's a way of building relationships that comes from the heart,
Yes.
and is much more inclusive, and the kind of relationship where we feel appreciated and safe, and that
Mhm.
other people have our best interest at heart, not interest in our wallets.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's the type of environment that I love and crave to
Yeah.
be in. And, many times I've been to networking events and, people just hand you a card, right away. And you come back and you look at the card and you go like,
Who
okay,
is that? I'm glad I'm not the only one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you come back with, 15, 25 cards or something like that. And you look at, you remember, I always make notes on the ones that, impress me, or I want to have a more of a
Yes.
talk with them later. But
Hmm.
so many people just, as soon as they just hand you the card, like, okay, so you take it out of courtesy, but you don't have a clue who they are. You got no
Yeah.
rapport with them.
Hmm.
And all they're doing is just wasting their money and destroying their credibility,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's so unnecessary.
What I started doing when I was doing this experimentation,
Hmm.
which led to my networking in a different way, was when people would say, "Oh, I'd like to know more about you and build." So I said, "Okay, get out your phone. Let's make an appointment." Because when you do that, it's like it never happens, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, so people got to learn. If they said to me, let's have another meeting," I would take out my phone. They better be ready.
yeah. I hear
Yeah,
you. I know
take
exactly what
action.
you mean. Yeah,
Take action, right?
yeah, you bet. That lets them know that you're serious. It really
Yeah,
does, and that you're very
absolutely.
sincere in what you're doing. Because it's just, I had a guy on the radio, and we were on the Your Futures Now is on the TogiNet radio. We've had over 5 million downloads, and he just blurted out something, and then when he said it, I thought, why did you even say that?
Mm.
He was making a comment. I don't remember the exact comment, but I remember he just said, I'm a lazy rascal, and
Oh,
I thought, what did you just tell people? You know,
yeah, yeah. I want to do business with you.
yeah, yeah, I've been looking for a lazy rascal to give my money to. Well, and I'm thinking, he has said it and he kind of laughed. And I thought, he didn't think that one through. I mean,
No,
maybe just subconsciously told the truth. So if he did, he saved a lot of people a lot of heartache right there.
there you go.
Oh my goodness.
That's funny.
Lorraine, I want to personally thank you for, for you being the only guest today, and you were supposed to be scheduled to speak later, and I
No,
just
it
explained.
worked out fine.
Oh yeah, and I'm just so glad and so thrilled that you're here. And folks, just stay tuned because we're going to get out information on our new live streaming TV show. We're
Okay.
very excited about that. In fact, this TV show actually came to life because of the messages of inspiration and hope show that we put on here on the webinar.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
It started on May the 18th. It was on a Wednesday. We came together and we were just kind of like looking, how can we give back to people? How can we help them in their hour of need? Because we were all worried about everything from the virus to, are we going to have enough toilet paper? I mean, it was just, we were all in the same boat,
Yes.
Everybody had to be reactive as opposed to proactive there for a while. And I was in a grocery store here. I live in a small town, and HEB, the supermarket here in Texas, they had a lot of toilet paper. And I saw a couple of guys that I knew, and I act like I was on my cell phone. And I, picked it up like that. And I said, yeah, this is Jim up in Burnham. HEB's got a lot of toilet paper. Be sure and tell our buddies down there. And a couple of people who didn't know me, they turned and looked at me. And I said, folks, I'm just kidding. We had no sense of humor.
Yeah,
But my point being, that was the situation we were in. We were scared. And a lot of people were worried. All of us were worried to some degree.
Yeah.
You'd have to be because of the uncertainty. So we came together on March the 18th. And then the very next day, that was on a Wednesday, on the very following Monday, we kicked off the show. Message of inspiration, hope, and support, because a lot of people were at home. They were glad to be on the webinar. And we've done well over 200 interviews with people, maybe 250. I don't know what the number is. But as this thing, it generated its own heartbeat. That's the message I want you to understand. When you give to others, you're going to be blessed yourself.
Yeah.
And then I get a call from a friend of mine that says, hey, the guy at E360 TV would like to talk to you about bringing this show here to, his platform. And I thought, wow, that's pretty neat. And I talked to him, and we've had a very good conversation. And he's a very honest man. I'll tell you that about Aaron Hymas. He's very, very honest, because he told me, he says, Jim, by knowing you and the way you put on shows and your personality and all, he says, a lot of the bigger platforms, they kind of like, want to reach in and handpick, kind of harvest, good shows. And I said, well, I'm not really a guy that, I'm not really into that as far as jumping ship or something like that, because I like to build relationships and friendships and family. And that's more important to me than money. It really is. Because that's something that money can't buy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I have people, can I tell people to go listen to this show, and where would I send them?
Yeah.
Okay.
What we'll do, we'll have it, it's going to be on speakerspathway.com. And, where we had the message of inspiration and hope is right there on the front page. Just click on that. And plus the fact, after we get the show audited and all that, your individual presentation will be there, because they don't need to see me, because you're the important one here.
Okay. And so are you going to look for people to be on the TV shows?
Yes. Okay. It's going to be a little different. It's going to be more of a guest interview. And the way we're going to do that, Don and I are visiting on today, Don McGrath. He's my partner with the Speakers Pathway Coalition. We're fine tuning everything. On Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, we'll have the speakers there, and they will be a guest interview rather than the way we've done it here. We're going to do it because it's a live TV show. And then on Thursday, we're going to have our guest VIP day. And so far, I've just mentioned a couple of names. We've got Marty Haggard that's going to be one of the guest VIPs there on Thursday. We've got Forbes Riley, and we've got some other VIPs coming in. But all those speakers during Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they will be on the same placard, if I can call it, or board or whatever,
Mhm.
photo with the guest speaker in the VIP speaker in the center, and they will be around that, and that's going to be promoted because we're doing a lot of promotion for that. So
Mhm.
if anyone would like to have information on that, Jim at speakerspathway.com is my website. And Lorraine, you got my cell phone number. So, Don and I were finishing up the fine tuning of the things today. So we should have our video done on it so people have information and know the way it's going to work and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Because
Okay.
it's one of those deals, you got to keep within 6 minutes. But I mean, I want to tell them this, I want to tell them that. And Don says, time out. So,
Yeah.
but we're getting there. But most importantly, the focus is on how we can provide, service to everyone. And like I say, getting on Roku, I mean, even streaming TV is huge. I mean, even
Mhm.
NBC, I found out that NBC got into streaming TV.
Hmm.
Yeah, I found that out. Dale Earnhardt Jr., I don't know him personally or anything like that, but I'm on his mail list. And he sent me a thing that he's got a new show on finding the old abandoned speedways from NASCAR history, because that's one of his things. And he says, I'm on the new streaming Peacock TV.
Mm.
Peacock TV is a streaming channel. NBC just kicked that off in March or April of this year. And that was on Comcast, the company that they own. And then in June or July, they went to Roku. So we got a channel on Roku, and we're on Amazon Fire and just all over. Like I say, I tease
Mm.
people, well, it'll be on your mom's TV and your grandmother's, she'll
Yeah.
definitely tune in, but it also be on YouTube Live. It's going to be recorded, most importantly, and a person will be able to have their own recording of being on that TV show, because we're all about providing quality,
Mhm.
because that's
Great.
extremely important.
Yeah. Well,
And
thank you for the opportunity today. And I'm on your mailing list now, right?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And thank you very much for being here. And I'll make sure you get the copy of the finished product when we get it out. It should be today, later on.
All
But
right.
most importantly, uh, we talked about birthdays, and Facebook does a good job on helping you remember, people's birthdays. And it's
Mhm.
important to just, if you just say happy birthday or whatever, because it means a lot to people. It really does, because that's their
Yes.
special day. And
Mhm.
I like to close every show and like to say, if today is your birthday, on behalf of Lorraine and myself, we want to wish you a very happy birthday, number one. Number two, Lorraine and I voted on this. Remember that birthday cakes and your special desserts that you love, they are health food. So be sure and treat yourself today. Love yourself. Be good to yourself. And ladies and gentlemen, I just got to give another shout out to Lorraine for being with us today. Thank you so much. And before you go, would you kindly be able to show that book again? Let's see the book. What's the title
There
of the
it
book, ma'am?
goes. Yep. The title of the book is Business Building Referrals.
Business Building Referrals, and you can get it on Amazon. Is that right?
That is absolutely right. Yes.
And your website and email address again, please.
My website is lainebc.com, and my email address is Lorraine with two R's, LORRAINE at lanebc.com. Thank you.
That's LANE. B is in Bravo, C is in Charlie.com. So be sure and visit Lorraine and let her know that you enjoyed seeing her on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you very soon on the E360 TV network. Stay tuned to Speakers Pathway Coalition, the public page on Facebook. We'll keep you updated there. And we just want to thank you so much for making this show a success. Lorraine, thank you again for being with us today. It's my honor.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you. Folks, have a wonderful day. God bless you and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.